When humanity started its adventure among the stars, no one expected to face the true face of the universe so soon. In the 22nd century, humanity made huge progress in technology, diving deep into space to discover new planets, new life forms, and unknown dangers. But these discoveries were signs of something terrifying enough to end civilization: the dark universe. The dark universe was a lightless, empty, and hopeless void. Scientists believed this region was on the outer edges of the galaxy and showed no signs of life. But something was wrong. Energy waves emanating from the dark universe began affecting the entire galaxy, causing stars to suddenly go out and planets to be shaken by deadly radiation storms. Captain Helena Faulkner, one of the bravest and most skilled space captains in the galaxy, was preparing for a dangerous journey into the dark universe with her crew. Their mission was simple: to discover the secrets of the dark universe and find a solution to protect humanity from this threat. However, this journey was filled with challenges beyond their expectations. When the ship, Eos, reached the edge of the dark universe, the crew felt a heavy weight on them. Nothing was visible. There was just a starless, empty darkness as far as the eye could see. Captain Faulkner, with deep lines on her face, looked out from the bridge of the ship and thought, "This is not just emptiness. This is death itself." Keeping morale high had always been difficult, but this was another level. In a place where nothing existed, the human mind could imagine the most horrific scenarios. John Marcus, the technician of Eos, sighed as he examined a fault report. "Captain, this place's energy is bad. The sensors are picking up strange data, as if space here is turning into something different." Helena didn't ignore Marcus's concerns. "Keep moving forward. There's no turning back. The future of humanity may depend on it." As Eos delved deeper into the dark universe, strange occurrences began to increase on the ship. Electronics suddenly stopped working, and unrest among the crew grew day by day. It seemed like someone was watching them. Although no one spoke openly, everyone was aware of this silent, invisible threat. One day, the ship unexpectedly received a signal. It could have belonged to other ships, known to have been lost in the dark universe. As Eos followed the signal, the crew's hearts raced. Captain Faulkner whispered, "This could be a trap." But the ship had made a decision. They had to follow the signal. It was humanity's last hope. As they approached the signal, a massive, abandoned spaceship emerged. The writings on the ship were unrecognizable, as if pushed out of time. However, this ship was one of the human ships that had disappeared 50 years ago, lost in the dark universe, Solace. The crew that set foot on Solace saw that the inside of the ship had turned into a battlefield. Something had hunted the crew and left only chaos behind. Helena instinctively drew her pistol. Something is very wrong here. The inside of the ship was dark, cold, and silent. But this silence was deceptive. Suddenly, when they entered the ship's control room, a scream echoed. Helena pointed her gun and shouted, "Who's there?" But there was no reply, only darkness. As they continued to explore the Solace, the crew felt the air inside the ship growing heavier. This wasn't just a change in atmosphere. It felt as if space itself was collapsing around them. Each member of the crew moved silently, unsure of what awaited them. The ship seemed abandoned, but something was still alive. Helena scanned the control panels in the ship's control room. Everything was inoperative. "How can all this technology be so dead?" she murmured to herself. Suddenly, a crackling noise was heard. Marcus asked, "If this is what we found by following the signal, why are we still receiving a connection?" Helena turned to him. "I don't know, but this ship holds an answer." In the control room of Solace, they found an old audio recording. The captain of the crew spoke in a heavy, frightened voice on the recorder. We went too far. There's something here. It's watching us. Living in the darkness. No return. If you're listening to this, for God's sake, run. Escape from here." Helena turned off the recorder and took a deep breath. This thing, it's not just a ghost story. Something is here. It might be waiting for us. As they continued to examine the ship, the crew quickly split into two groups. The first team tried to reach the ship's data center, while the second team set out to restart the energy generators. Both teams began to feel something moving in the darkness of the ship. A few claimed to see vanishing shadows, but no one could clearly identify what it was. Entering the data center, Helena and her team gathered the remnants of Solace's explorations. The ship's logs suggested that the Solace crew had learned more about the dark universe. This information could be deadly for humanity. The records indicated that this dark region once hosted an advanced civilization. However, this civilization had been destroyed by their own creations, the Dark Watchers. These shadowy entities consumed energy, could bend time and space. The Solace crew had made contact with the Dark Watchers and made a terrible mistake. They had awakened them. The Watchers had noticed humanity and might now be targeting the EOS crew. As Marcus and his team reached the generator room to restore the ship's energy, they began to hear a strange, parasitic noise. Initially, it was a slight crackle, but gradually it turned into a decipherable whisper. As Marcus tried to locate the source of the sound, the doors to the generator room suddenly shut. "What's happening?" he shouted. The whispers grew louder. They were indistinct but frightening. Suddenly, the generators powered up and the lights blazed brightly. But this was not a relief, but a warning. A message came over Helena's radio. Marcus's voice echoed with a mix of panic. "We are not alone here. There's something. Helena's heart raced. "We must go there right now. We are all in danger." When Helena and her team reached the generator room, they found Marcus and the others unconscious. There were no wounds on their bodies, but it was as if their souls had been extracted. Marcus slightly opened his eyes and spoke in a feeble voice. "Captain, they live in the shadows. They're watching us." Helena couldn't fully understand what Marcus meant, but one thing became clear. These entities were real. The Dark Watchers were not just legend. Helena took her radio and addressed all crew members. "Listen, we are not alone. There's something living on this ship. Anyone who wants to can go back, but I have to go all the way. The future of humanity may depend on it." No one considered going back. They all knew, like Helena, that this was humanity's last chance. They had to decipher the Watcher secrets, or the dark void of the universe would forever be humanity's grave. As Helena and her team conducted a thorough investigation of the ship, they discovered that the Dark Watcher's abilities to bend time and space could also consume life forms. The crew of Solace had gradually been consumed by these beings and turned into shadows. The Watchers were slowly transforming them. Every living being they encountered was turned into a dark entity by absorbing their energy. Helena's mind froze with this reality. Are we going to become part of them too? But there was no escape. Time was running out, and Helena realized something. This darkness was not just a part of space. It was related to the universe itself. The Watchers had emerged as natural entities of the galaxy, and they represented the inevitable dark future of the universe. Helena and her crew had one last chance to survive, to find the weaknesses of the Dark Watchers. While these beings absorb energy, an uncontrolled energy explosion could be their end. However, this required a risky plan. They would redirect the ship's energy and set a trap for the Watchers. The complete explosion of the energy could destroy the ship, but it seemed to be their only way out. Helena had made her decision. "We will do this. We will either win or we all perish. But this is our last hope for humanity." The team made a final assault plan. They would lure the Watchers with energy and try to completely annihilate them. However, during this process, the crew began to suffer losses. The shadows were growing, hunting them. Time was running out. Helena looked out the window of the ship and saw the true face of the universe for the first time. The dark universe was not just a threat, it was the inevitable fate of the universe. But this time, they had won. As the Watchers were destroyed, the vibrations on the ship began to subside, but the effects of the explosion continued. The ship had suffered serious damage, and the energy reserves were almost depleted. The surviving crew members sat silently in their places, not yet understanding the cost of their victory. Helena took a deep breath and walked to the bridge of the ship. For one last time, she pressed the radio button to address all the crew members. Listen, the Watchers are no more, but this matter doesn't end here. Humanity has faced this darkness once, and it will face it again. This is just the beginning. A few crew members responded with courage, but the fatigue in their voices was evident. Marcus had not fully regained consciousness yet, but from the expression on his face, he understood how deeply they had faced something. Suddenly, the ship's front control panel began to emit a signal. As Helena looked at the screen, her eyes widened. A massive, dark form moving towards a distant galaxy appeared. The Watchers were just the beginning. The dark universe was just a small part of the universe and a precursor to a greater threat. The existence of the Watchers was just a reflection of the dark forces in the universe. Helena straightened her shoulders tiredly but determinedly and gave her final order over the radio. EOS crew, we are returning home, but this war is just beginning. Humanity will never give up against the darkness. The ship slowly began to return. Many casualties and a dark future awaited them, but humanity had faced challenges at every point in its history. Now they were ready to fight against this dark threat beyond the stars. They had not lost their last hope. The secrets of the dark universe had not been fully unraveled yet, but Helena and her team had gained the necessary knowledge for humanity's new battle. The Watchers were just harbingers of a bigger war, but humanity had learned to create its own light. Now, they would challenge the darkness with that light.